Hi everyone, I'm Scott. Welcome back to the Movie Reviewers 100. We're a collaboration channel here on YouTube that does theme week movie reviews. Oftentimes, we've been on hiatus for a good long while now, but we're getting back into the swing of things. And we thought that there couldn't be a better way to do that than with a tribute to Alan Rickman, who passed away very recently of cancer. Most regrettable. When the guys floated the idea of doing a week on Alan Rickman, I'm like, didn't we just do him? And they're like, Scott, that was 3 years ago. So actually, I've been part of this channel for a long time now, nearly 5 years. I joined up in April of 2011. Yeah, it's hard to believe it's already been that long. But yeah, we want to get started again and review movies again on a weekly basis. And we thought, what better way to kick things off than with a tribute to an actor that everyone admires. By all accounts, a really, really nice guy, very sweet guy, and a generous collaborator with his other actors and the directors that he's worked with, which is a stark contrast to the characters that he often plays. Characters who are not, if not outright menacing, then often seem rather disdainful of the people and events that occur around him. It's this delivery of his, this very clipped delivery. I often sort of compare him with Tommy Lee Jones, actually, in the way he just seems very frustrated or just like peeved about the stupid things that people do around him. Of course, he's best known for playing Professor Snape in the Harry Potter movies, and I think his other most well-known role is as the villain Hans Gruber in Die Hard, which Alan reviewed earlier. By the way, if you'd like to see the other Alan Rickman reviews, not only the ones that we did for this week, but also a week of Alan Rickman that we did a few years back, I'll link all those in the description in this video, all of them, so you have a chance to see them if you'd like to. EJ did Sense and Sensibility, which was a 1995 film with Emma Thompson and Kate Winslet, and I decided to do a review of the other movie that Rickman has made with Kate Winslet, which came out just last year in June here in the States, called A Little Chaos. I had never seen this movie before, and I didn't really know anything about it other than Kate Winslet was in it, and Alan Rickman not only appears in it, but also directed it. And then it was a period drama, it was a costume drama. Alan Rickman has only directed one other film, which was called The Winter Guest. It was based on a play by Sharman Macdonald that came out in 1997. So that was quite a while ago. We finally got around to making another film as a director. And this is basically set in the 1680s, and it involves the construction of a fountain called the Bosquet de la Salle-de-Balle, which is at the Palace of Versailles in France. So yeah, here is a English production that's set in French, mostly French characters, and as far as I can tell, there's only really one actor in the movie who's actually French, Belgian actually, and that's Matthias Schoenaerts. You know, or maybe it's Schoenaerts. I'm not really sure how to pronounce his name. But he is, like I said, a Belgian actor who was in the Paul Verhoeven film Black Book. And he was Marion Cotillard's leading man in Rust and Bone. He was also in a film called Loft, which maybe is a European movie, but then got an American remake a couple years ago. That was terrible. I assume he played the same character, much the same way Penelope Cruz played the same character in Vanilla Sky that she played in the Spanish original. He's also in The Danish Girl, which is out right now and is nominated for some Oscars, and the other film that I've seen him in is The Drop with James Gandolfini and Tom Hardy, a movie I like quite a bit, but I'm not really familiar with him all that much. He plays a character named André Lenotre, who is the designer and principal builder of the fountain, according to history. Kate Winslet, who is the main character of the movie, plays a fictional landscape designer. Her character is named Sabine de Barra, and she is a widow who interviews for a job helping design, basically, gardens at Versailles before the king moves there. They want to, you know, fancy the place up, obviously, make it look super nice for the king arrives. Oh, by the way, Alan Rickman plays the king, and that would be King Louis XIV, basically. I'm not really up on my history, my French history anyway, so after seeing the movie I went over to Wikipedia to look over at the plot synopsis and the names of all the characters, because it's kind of hard to keep all those names in mind when you're not used to remembering French names as opposed to American or English names. Some of the other people in this movie include Helen McCrory, who plays the wife of André Le Nôtre. She is Madame Francois Le Nôtre, and she is probably best known for also being in Harry Potter. She played Narcissa Malfoy, Draco's mom. What a great name, Narcissa. Clearly not a nice person. And she's not a terribly nice person in this movie either. Although she's married to a very handsome dude, she insists on having affairs with anyone she likes. And since André Le Nôtre and Sabine de Barra end up working together for a long period of time over the construction of this fountain with its marble courtyard. Basically, it's like an outdoor ballroom in the garden. He develops feelings for her, and she's like, his wife is like, and he's like, yeah, but hey, you're having affairs all over town. Any reason why I can't hook up with Kate Winslet? I mean, she's Kate Winslet, for crying out loud. He doesn't say that, of course, but, you know, he's just like, you have your freedom? I'd like mine too. How about that? So she's not happy about that. At one point, she tries to sabotage the project. By the way, Helen McCrory, if you're not familiar with her, was also Tony Blair's wife in The Queen with Helen Mirren and Michael Sheen. She was in a television series, Penny Dreadful, as a character named Madame Kali. I haven't seen that. It's on Showtime here in the States. And she also was in Hugo and Skyfall. So she's come a long way from playing prostitute number 2 in Interview with a Vampire. That's on her resume as well. So yeah, basically it's the king. Alan Rickman, the queen dies, and he's very sad about that. And one day he decides to go to the garden near the palace where he's living before he moves to Versailles. And he asks all the other people, the caretakers in the garden, and everyone to leave so he can be alone and just, you know, enjoy the plants surrounding him. And then Kate Winslet arrives with a delivery of flowers and walks up to him thinking that he's the gardener instead of the king, and starts having a conversation, which he is, you know, he sort of pretends to be the gardener for a little while until she figures out he's actually the king. But this means that he gets to know her a little bit and is friendly with her beyond that as the king, and so she ends up coming to Versailles when he does, which is nice. You know, it's a nice little thing for her. Anyway, like I said, she's a fictional character, but the movie overall I thought was pretty good. Not usually intent on costume dramas, but like the critic from Variety said, as quoted here on the Wikipedia page, if you see only one movie about a 17th century French gardener, make it this one. Yeah, as far as just like a critical appraisal of this movie, I liked it just fine. It's funny, of course, that a movie about, you know, French characters are mostly played by English actors and is filmed in England, with probably the exception of a few French locations. But yeah, there's a tragic element to it, of course. Both the king and Sabine, the Kate Winslet character, have experienced great tragedy in their lives. So they sort of bond over that, I guess. Or maybe they don't. I can't remember if they even discuss that. Like I said, with a movie like this, I sort of have to go back and read more about it in order to fully understand everything that's happened, just because it gets sort of complicated with all the characters. A couple other people in this movie are Jennifer Ehle as the king's, how shall I put this, favorite lady friend, who isn't his wife, and also Stanley Tucci plays Philippe, the Duke of Orleans, and he's lots of fun. I loved Stanley Tucci. He's really great. And Rickman, he's his usual aristocratic self, but he's a bit more generous and warm towards people in this movie than he is in most of the films that he's been in, at least most of the films that I've seen. I'm not sure that he was actually in his film, The Winter Guest, the one that he'd already directed, but he... there's a quote on the Wikipedia page about, sorry, I'm just going back to Wikipedia over and over again, but I really didn't know hardly anything at all about this movie before I saw it, so I thought I'd read up a little bit on it. I went to popped in the disc and watched it completely cold without knowing a thing about it, so I sort of just gathered everything from that viewing rather than research it ahead of time. So, not my best review, but yeah, if this is the kind of movie that appeals to you, the costume drama, you know, Kate Winslet in a corset, who doesn't love that? But yeah, there's lots of good actors in this movie, and it's just, you know, the kind of movie that would definitely appeal to people that like this sort of film. If you want something more action-oriented, stick with Harry Potter and Die Hard. And Galaxy Quest, of course. Galaxy Quest is a fun movie, in which he plays the Mr. Spock character, I guess you could say. So that is my review for the film. And I didn't really talk a lot about Matthias Schoenaerts, obviously the guy who sort of gets emotionally involved with Kate Winslet, mostly because I have a hard time pronouncing his name. I could simply refer to him as Andre Lenotre over and over again, but sorry, not my best review. But I wanted to see this movie, of course, obviously, because since Rickman passed away, thought, oh, he directed a movie. I'd like to see that. And I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it overall. Again, this is not the kind of movie that would probably appeal to a lot of people that aren't interested in this genre, the costume drama, with all of its emphasis on demeanor and on social etiquette. Social etiquette is absolutely critical to you know, the way one is perceived and dealt with by other people around you. So yeah, it's sort of the sort of story that's oftentimes hung up on on those sorts of rules. And a lot of people I know probably don't have time for it. But if you like that sort of thing, then you'll probably like this movie a great deal. It's certainly worth checking out, at least for the actors. So, thank you very much for watching. We will have more reviews up soon. Please subscribe if you haven't already, and check out our Facebook page, the link to which is also below in the description. Thanks very much. See you again real soon. Bye-bye.